My name is Phil Richardson. I am making an appeal to President Biden, Vice President Harris, Chuck Schumer, Governor Hochul, I think Gillibrand, whoever the other Democratic senator is from New York, and all of the um, congressional Democrats and House Democrat Majority Leader Jeffries. This is a copy of a New York State retirement system retirement application pursuant to Section 74 of 374 of the Retirement and Social Security Law for a hearing and redetermination. And these are the findings and the conclusions from that report. That report was filed after I exhausted all avenues trying to get entitled disability retirement for 3 work-related incidents while I was a correctional officer. And one of those incidents involved an inmate. And those of you who know about the retirement system knows that that has additional implications in a positive manner for the employee. Okay. At the conclusion of the hearing, they list all the accidents that I had. And then they state that by determination dated June 16, 1997, the state controller disapproved the request for 507 disability retirement based on the applicant benefits on the basis that the applicant was not permanently incapacitated from the performance of her duties as a correctional officer, and that the May 20, 1993, and the October 26, 1994 incidents, which was actually accidents or injuries, workman's comp injuries, did not constitute accidents within meanings of the term as used in Section 507A of the Retirement and Social Security Law, Exhibit number 3, transcript, page 17. So in all of the applications on the same date, June 16, 1997, they also disapproved 507B disability retirement based on the fact that they said I was not permanently incapacitated from performing the duties of a correctional officer, and listed those same 2 accidents, injuries, May 20, 1993 and October 26, 1994, and were not the results of an act of an inmate. Okay? And that was from page 3. Now page 7, page 8, page 9, page 10, page 11, and finally on page 12. So I'm going back to page 11 and see where I can start off. They talk about the doctors who submitted documentations that I was permanently disabled, and who said this? In my opinion, okay, let's see. Based on the foregoing findings and facts and conclusion of law, it is hereby determined and recommended that the application of Vera Richardson for benefits under either Section 507A or 507B of the Retirement and Social Security Law will be denied in all respects. And it's signed September the 3rd, 2002 by Raymond E. Marinelli. I don't know, it's an Italian name. And because I was educated in the 50s and the 60s, where they didn't, at a black school, we weren't taught how to pronounce. Anyway, I have a problem pronouncing words because of that, okay? Some words. So my application was denied. Okay. And I was terminated by New York State after I filed an employment discrimination and retaliation lawsuit. And in order to prevent that termination, that firing, that I filed a I, I had filed a pro se lawsuit October 15, 1997, alleging employment discrimination in violation of Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And that lawsuit was ongoing when I was fired. So in order to try and prevent that firing, even though I wasn't working, I was collecting workman's comp because for the workman's comp injuries one caused by an inmate, and I was getting another form of income. I was making more money, receiving more money, not working, because they had screwed up so badly. I was eligible for the income that I was receiving, and so when they decided that they were going to terminate me, I made the court where my case was already filed at aware to try and get an emergency order. And I know a lot of us you all are familiar with that now, listening to the Trump cases and the other cases, all the lawsuits and things that are in the news now. And in a one-page summary, the judge who was appointed by a Republican, his name was Elfin, E-L, let's see, where's his name spelled on here, E-L-V-I-N, and his order 97 CV 0818E, and H is in parentheses, states, Plaintiff Richardson filed September the 30th, 1998, an affidavit in support of application for a temporary restraining order. At a conference held on that date, copies of such affidavits and certain supporting documents were provided to the undersigned and by the undersigned chambers to defendants' counsel. For reasons stated at such conferences, to wit, that the plaintiff can obtain any merited compensatory renunciation for any loss of employment or monetary benefits. It is hereby ordered that such application is denied. So I was denied my emergency or filing to stop them from terminating me. And it's dated November the 2nd, 1998 was the date of the order. One of the things that the New York State Department of Correctional Services stated that I wasn't getting, and I was receiving New York State Insurance Fund workman's comp benefits because of my injuries, and including the one that happened with the results of injuries from an inmate. And as you can see here, I was getting $608 every 2 weeks. And it came from, and this particular one is dated 4/30/2004 to 5/14/2004 at $304.17 a week. And it's dated 5/11/04. And the drafted total was for $608.34. And at the time I was living in Rockford, Illinois, because my grandson Jeremiah was born with a heart defect, and I moved to Rockford because he was hospitalized 50-something times as an infant, and because they didn't because he has the same condition that Jimmy Kendall's son has, but he had it 21 years ago. So I was actually collecting, this is important, workman's comp. And as part of the workman's comp program, I had a restriction. When I first came back to work, I had a work restriction. And the sergeant who was one of the people that discriminated against me, Sergeant Reed, who was a chart sergeant, I had a weight limitation. And my first day back from work, he had me in the package room processing packages and lifting packages when I had a weight limitation. And the weight limitations says 0 to 10 pounds frequently, 11 to 20 pounds frequently, 21 to 50 pounds never, 51 to 100 pounds never, and other limitations. Oh, sitting, let's see what else. But anyway, I had a weight limitation, and I worked in that package room for 8 hours under those restrictions, even though the facility had these guidelines also. Okay. This is important again. This is a hearing I had December the 10th, 1993. And I was awarded $400 a week from $521.93 to $1210.93. And it says the case, accident notice of cause, relationship has been established, neck, back, left leg, average wages. At the time, my average wages was $654. So I had workman's comp cases, received workman's comp. When the Mac Russo, the Assistant Attorney General, when he filed his summary judgment motion to dismiss my case, he stated in it that one of the deputy superintendents who had to sign everything that goes into an employee folder, including all of these notices, this notice, stated in a written sworn declaration that to his knowledge, and he stated it at my disability retirement hearing, one of those proceedings, that to his knowledge, no workman's comp case was ever filed by me. So therefore, I was not eligible for disability retirement. And you can see I had a workman's comp hearing as early as 12/10/93 and 97, and I had 3 different cases, workman's comp cases, and collected from all 3 because I was injured. One, the most important thing, was by an inmate while trying to restrain the inmate breaking up a fight. I appealed that judge's decision to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals in New York City, and I again represented myself at that hearing, and it was right after 9/11. The station still had flags and flowers, the fire stations, when I came to New York City for that hearing. And by that time, the case was assigned to 2 white females at the New York State Attorney General office. And those white females also lied in their written declarations or their written paperwork to the judge and their argument to the judge during the physical hearing at the appeals hearing. And in a order dated the 22nd day of February 2001, the three judges, circuit judges, Thomas M.E.S. Mescal, Fred Parker, and Robert D. Sack, S.A.C.K., circuit judges, in reference to Vera Richardson petitioner, ruled. They stated that my pro se petition for a writ of mandamus, directing Judge D.F. Elfin to vacate and reverse discovery order and about protected order and to recuse himself from my case, and for the petition is denied. And they said I had failed to demonstrate my right to the requested relief is clear and indisputable. And they cited the case International Business Machine Corporation 45F.3D 641 643 Second Circuit 1995. So I appealed it to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, and that was denied. All pro se. Okay, I made you all aware that they said that no workman's comp case was ever filed by me. But here's a check for me receiving workman's comp, and I received it up until I decided to take a lump sum payment, and that's when the workman's comp stopped. So the Democrats, Governor Hochul, the New York State Attorney General James, at the time Mike Russo, and as late as 2023, I believe, he was still employed with Attorney General's office. He was working for Elliot Spitzer when he was assigned my case, and I was one of the first cases that he received. And this man filed every declaration he filed, summary judgment motion, contained perjury. And no one has ever been held accountable for that perjury. And I was whole. In fact, I was strong enough when I started with the Department of Correctional Services that I went back to college. I needed 18 semester hours to graduate from college. And when I requested a leave of absence to go to do that, when they refused that, I left the 7 to 3 shift. And on the 7 to 3 shift, my bid jobs included medical transportation and working in the package room on the weekends. So at the conclusion of them saying that when I wanted to go back to college to finish the 18 semester hours that I needed to graduate, from the time that I had taken some courses at Brockport prior to getting down to the, I went back at the exact same time that I kept all my credits, that I would have lost all those credits had I not gone back. And that was credits at SUNY Brockport itself. And the other college hours that I had was I received an associate's degree from University of Florida. I was majoring in criminal justice at the University of Florida. So I graduated from SUNY from that working midnights taking 18 hours in daytime. I made the dean's list for the first time in my life, 3.5 average, and graduated. And then discrimination happened. New York State committing perjury. And Black Superintendent Angie A. Andrews, Black female, her declaration campaign contained perjury. Deb Burberry's declaration campaign contained perjury. Lindsay, a female, last name Lindsay, from State Personnel Office, her declaration contained perjury. Sergeant Reed's declaration contained perjury. Who else did they have about one? Deb Burberry, who stated that in his declaration and at a hearing, I guess sworn under oath, that I had never ever filed a workman's comp case. And I want peace and justice. And President Biden, I'm saying this with all due respect, because you are the best thing that's ever happened to African Americans, point blank, period. You have shown up and delivered for us. You're the blackest administration in the history of America. Who would have guessed that the Secretary of Defense would be a black man? And I've been majoring political science. I'm just, I'm 70 now. So I don't remember one ever being one before. Your Secretary of State. I mean, you have your Vice President, Masora Harris, is a black female. You appointed a black female to the Supreme Court. And those of you who are walking around, even that you are mad about one incident about, however, Israel, and you know that President Biden is doing the best he can with that situation, and it's going to all work out. And I'm so proud of Morehouse grads. Even though you all had issues and you demonstrated, but you were respectful. Because if we don't vote this time, and you have people from, I think I'm going to end with my stuff, and then I may start over instead of getting into anything else. But I just want justice and peace. I want my disability retirement now, retroactively, or the $3 million that I saw doing my lawsuit and didn't get plus interest. And it has been done before. The black female officer in Buffalo, New York, who was fired when she tried to restrain or stop a white cop from violating, I don't know if he was under arrest, but she got involved in that and she was fired. And she was able to get her benefits. And I need a lawyer, someone. I shouldn't even need a lawyer, President Biden. And this is similar to the Baltimore, Maryland, the Baltimore DA. We go by we think, we're under the impression that, okay, we follow the rules and we're trying to get justice. For the law says, that Freddie Graves, that was a tragedy. And she suffered for that. And you know how easy it is. And because I was thinking that maybe she should have taken a plea deal until I started hearing her side of it, because you don't know. And that's the same thing with African Americans. A lot of people think that, okay, well, what are they doing? They're not doing anything because they don't know. They don't know the facts. But this is a time for you to knock the narrative down and the lie that you haven't done anything for black people, and for young people to say, some young people who may or may not even be Oh, I'm not going to even go there. But for some black people who think that you haven't done enough, or they're not satisfied with what you have done, for you to show them that in this situation, you are going to give me peace and justice. You have no idea. The pain, the surgeries I've had. The recent one's cataract. And the fact that my beloved favorite, and he would tell me, I'm your only son, Mom. I'm not your favorite, I'm your only. Was murdered. A retired police officer in Rochester, New York. And I remember when one of my daughter's students got murdered. And my daughter called me. She was teaching in Rochester, New York at the time. And she had told me the day before about she had was letting one of her students use her laptop. And I've been active, like CNN I Report and on social media, all type of videos, supporting Democrats and trying to get justice in my case. And when my daughter came over and she was looking at one of my videos, and my daughter informed her of that, and then my daughter told me the story, and then she called me that weekend to say, "Ma, the student that I told you that was watching your video, she was murdered at a high school. It was like a older, like alternative education program for older Americans, Black Americans in this case." She said, "The one who was watching your video, she was murdered last night." She was murdered, I don't know if it was in the evening, like at a graduation, a high school. They were celebrating her graduation. And I cried. I did a video for that. And I said, it could be my son. I said, we need gun control, and we need gun control now. And that's been like 15 years, and we still do. And we can get all of this, President Biden. Make me whole. Get out. Nothing happens by chance. Get out the black vote. How is it that someone who was born dirt poor, mom was fired off the tobacco farm, talking about Martin Luther King, graduated from college, met your son, Beau Biden, because that was one of the blessings, because I was collecting workman's comp, was that I was able to volunteer for campaigns. I volunteered for 30 days in Virginia in 2012 for you and President Obama and Tim Kaine. Because I know that even though you all we have our problems, because there's a two-party system, and that's just the way the world is, and money plays a part in it, and all of that. But the bottom line is we have to vote for someone. And for us, the only people that have our back, and they may slip up a time or two, like Schumer did with the Iranian deal, when he opposed President Obama's, voted no for it. And I think maybe, and I've been calling him out. The day he said no, I called him out on Twitter that day. And I told him before, because just being active about it, that you cannot stab